Hi, this is Billy RL, and I'm here in the Resistance studio. A few of us are here in the studio, others are out and about and doing things in their day. Um, we are coming here to talk to you about how the gods are already here, people. And you know who the gods are. Enki, Marduk, um, a lot of the Greys, a lot of the Draconians, a lot of the Reptilians, they're already here. The only one who isn't here yet is Anu, and he will be coming on Nibiru. And when he comes, that will be the end of everything as we know it as normal. Accompanying him will be Enlil. Those are the only two that are not here yet. But Marduk, who is Satan, and Enki, who is Lucifer, they are already here along with the lower ranking beings, the Greys, the Reptilians, the Andromedans, the Draconians, and others. You ask why haven't they became visible? Well, the good beings that are already here, they're not going to come visible until the bad beings become visible. Because the war that has been taking place in the heavens, as people call it, which we call it the skies, will has now moved from the skies to down here. That war hasn't started down here yet. So the good beings, they're not going to come out until the malevolent beings, the bad beings, they come out and make their appearance. The bad beings, the malevolent beings, they're not going to make their appearance until almost everyone, because they know that everyone's not going to, but until almost everyone is branded. Once they are branded, the malevolent bad beings will come out and they will start carnage against the ones who are branded. And that's when the good beings will come out and try to fight the bad beings. But um, knowing how the future will play out, because we've heard how the future will play out, unfortunately, the good beings will lose. And the bad, malevolent beings are the ones who will take reign fully over this realm. So, this is why you have not seen the malevolent beings make their appearance yet, but they're going to. Um, and this is why you haven't seen the benevolent beings make their appearance yet. But you're going to if you live long enough to be around for that time. A lot of the Greys, a lot of the Draconians, a lot of the Reptilians, they are walking among us, but they are walking among us in disguise because you have to remember that the Greys, the Reptilians, and the Draconians, they can shapeshift. Enki and Marduk can shapeshift too, and they will come out only in specific circumstances, such as the time that I and the team saw Marduk on the train, and then there was a time when we actually saw Enki, but it wasn't in their true form. They were disguised in human form. And a few people who have seen Enki, they said they saw Enki in his human form, you know, the long white hair, glowing white eyes. That's not Enki's true form. That is his human-like form. But they can disguise themselves as anyone or anything. So a lot of the people that you come across in your everyday lives, and you're thinking, oh, that's just a regular man, that's just a regular woman, that's just a regular boy or girl, that's really, in all actuality, in a gray or a reptilian or a draconian, or in certain circumstances, you may be walking right past Marduk and Enki and you don't know it. They are in disguise because they are not ready to be seen in their true form yet until they make their grand appearance. And when they make their grand appearance, you have to know they can appear like, let's say, for example, in New York. But With them appearing in New York, the whole world will be able to see. Let me give you an example. If Enki was to appear right now in New York, even though he is appearing in New York, the whole world will be able to see him. That's how tall and that's how big he is. Even though he's in New York, someone in Russia can see him at the same time. Someone in London will be able to see him at the same time. He will be visible everywhere, even though he's in one place. And the same goes for Marduk. And when Anu and Enlil get here, that will be the same for them. Now the grays are a little bit different because even though you have the tall grays and the short grays, they are a little different. They're not giants like the Anunnaki is. So until that time comes when they make their mass appearance, you're not going to be able to see them in their full form unless they just want to show it to you to scare you. Because Enki does have a form that is one of his true forms. He has a few true forms, but one of his true forms is a hideous, horrifying form. That's one of his true forms. And so if he shows you that form, it's because he wants to scare the hell out of you. The same thing with Marduk. But then he has another true form, and he has a few true forms. But when he wants to blend in, when Marduk wants to blend in, then they will use one of their disguising forms, which is looking like a human. This is what the men in black do. The men in black are nothing but grays, tall grays. But so that they can blend in to get a job done, they will don the hat, the fake eyebrows, the fake hair that's been pasted on, and all of the clothes to blend in as a human. But if you have clairvoyance, you'll know, no, that's not a human, that's them in disguise. Knowing that these gods are here, this is why the lunatic, Donald J. Lunatic, and all of his lunatic buddies in the government, this is why they're doing what they're doing. Passing this law, passing that law. The far removed from the father, RFK Jr., who is far removed from his father, Robert F. Kennedy. RFK Jr., this is why he wants people to wear wearables between now and 2030. That idea comes straight from Enki and Marduk, because when you wear the wearable, you will be branded. See, they know they're not going to get people to get chipped because everyone's not going to go for that. But a wearable, people will think, well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just something that's like a wristwatch. That's no harm, no foul. Okay. Because I can take it off anytime I want, but they don't realize that once you put it on, you are allowing the energy, the technology from that wearable to saturate into the inside of you. So it will be just like you have been chipped. And with that, you will be branded. And that idea comes from Enki and that idea comes from Marduk because they want you branded so that it will be easier to know which one has been branded and which one hasn't, because all of those who have been branded, they are going to be snatched up and slaughtered or snatched up and taken to one of the millions of other prison planets that are within this matrix. So this is why Donald J. Lunatic and all of his lunatic people in the government are doing what they're doing and doing what they are doing, including with this big, beautiful bill. You have to understand that the entire government of Democrips or Bloodrickens, they have already pledged permanent allegiance to Enki and Marduk. And Anu, but Anu is more so the one that just, okay, I'm going to sit back and make sure that this goes how it's supposed to go. That's what that is. Enlil wants to have control over us rather than to have Enki to have control over us. So there is a battle between those two, but neither of them give a damn about humans. But so everyone has pledged allegiance to Enki and Marduk because Enki is Lucifer and Marduk is Satan. And so those government officials, no matter who they are, Jasmine Crockett, Angela, also Brooks, all of them, Cory Booker, they have all pledged allegiance to their gods, Enki and Marduk. This is why Donald J. Lunatic, he said on the night that he, on the day, well, that evening, after he sent a nuke to Iran, he said, I want to thank God. I love you, God. And people thought, oh, he's talking about Jesus. He's talking about God of the Bible. No, he's talking about his God, Enki, but really his God, Marduk, because that's his father. Donald J. Lunatic is the protege Epiphany's son of Marduk, which is the son of Satan, because that's just like Christians say the Antichrist is the son of Satan. Well, that's they use the word term Antichrist, but the real term is the protege of Satan. Adam, that's what they call, that's what the elite call, what Christians call the Antichrist. They call him Adam. And Adam is the son of Satan, who is Marduk. So when Donald J. Lunatic was saying, you know, I want to say thank you to God. I love you, God. He was talking about he loved his father, Satan, because Satan is a god of this world, just like Lucifer is. They both have ownership over this world. But it's just that right now, Lucifer and Key slash Inky is saying, you know, okay, Marduk, I'm going to sit back and you're going to take it over. I'm tired right now. So you go and take it over. And that's who's taking over this world, who's in control of this world right now is Marduk. But this world belongs to both Marduk and Satan. But Donald J. Lunatic's God, his God is Lucifer too, but his main God is Satan because that's his father. With everything that's going on with the gods being officially here, and they are here. I want to mention this as well. This is why people in certain states said, oh, we saw these fireballs come out the sky. That was them coming then. Now, not Enki. Enki has always been here because Enki is a dweller of the bottom of the sea because Enki is a water god. So the ocean is his home. So he's always been here. Marduk, he splits his time from being in this realm to being in Saturn. Enki does too. The ocean is Enki's home, but Enki as well splits his time from here to the moon, which is the moon is Enki's home. Saturn is Marduk's home. So they've been splitting their time, going back and forth. Now, all the reptilian beings, the Greys, the Draconians, they were not always here. They were elsewhere within this matrix universe. But now they have all came down here because they're needed down here. They have been deployed down here. That's what you've been seeing with these fireballs shooting at us. That's them coming here. They've been deployed to come down here. Okay. So with all of that happening, which has never happened before since really the Great Flood, you can be assured that after 2030, things will never be normal ever again. The way it is now, you know, you get up and you go to the grocery store, you go to the movies, you know, all of that, and you know, you're living your life, you're going to work, you can drive, you can basically live your life with some freedoms that you have now. That's not going to be it's not going to be that way in 2030. By 2030, everyone's going to be, well, whoever is still left alive after, because I'm telling you, we're all telling you something catastrophic will happen between now and 2030. We don't know how it will happen, whether it will be weather related or not, but between now and 2030, half of the population are going to be dead. And there's no easy way to say it, but just to come right out. Half of the world's population will be dead by 2030. Whoever else, yeah, whoever else is left after the world population has been reduced, those people will be living in smart cities. and they will not be able to leave out of the smart cities for any reason unless they have a written approval first. Um, they will shop in the smart cities. Within the smart cities, they will live within the smart cities. They will have their children to go to schools where they will be further indoctrinated within everything will take place within the smart cities. While outside of the smart cities and the townhomes and the condos and the houses and all of that and the flats that you see being built, the elite will live in there. They will be the ones that will be able to go to the movies, go to the restaurants, go bowling, go skating. You won't be able to do that because you're not going to have those amenities within the smart cities. You're only going to have the amenities that's necessary for you to be a slave. Just like back in slavery days, you had the slaves in the slave quarters. That's where they slept. If they wanted to talk and chat among themselves, they would do it within their little slave boundaries. While the slave masters, they could move throughout the house, they could go into town, they can, go in it. To this festivity, the slaves could not do that. That's how it will be in 2030. And you will be tracked. And so this planet, this prison planet, this world, the way we know it, is not going to go any further after 2030, the way that we know it. It'll continue to go on, but it won't be going on in the way that we know it is right now. And everything that the government elite are doing is preparing for that. Donald J. Lunatic is preparing for that. Robotoid Elon Muskface, he's preparing for that. All of them, they are, but Kinetoscope Eyes, RFK Jr., he's preparing for that. They're all preparing for 2030 to be completed with the type of world that they want to have. And you have to understand that what's happening is not coming just simply from Donald J. Lunatic or the Democrats or the Republicans. Klaus Schwab is over top of Donald J. Lunatic. He was the one who told Donald, we're going to get you in there. We're going to get you off of all of these charges that have been put against you, and we're going to get you in there because Enki and Marduk have declared that you are to be Adam, which Christians call the Antichrist. So we're going to get you in there. Don't worry. No matter what people go out there and do as far as voting, you have been selected. And he was selected. But all of Donald J. Lunatic's orders comes from Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab gets it from the Catholic Church, the Jesuits. The Jesuits, they get it from Enki and Marduk. It is a chain of command. So the big, beautiful bill and all of these other things that are being passed by Donald J. Lunatic and the Democrats and Crips and the Republicans, including RFK Jr., they all come from Enki and Marduk, who passes it down to the Jesuits. The Jesuits passes it down to the Rothschilds. I didn't mention it before, the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds then passes it down to the Grand Druid Council. The Grand Druid Council passes it down to Donald J. Lunatic, RFK Jr., and whoever else they want to bring forth the decisions of what's going to occur on this prison planet. It is a chain of command. So again, it's Enki and Marduk passed down to the Jesuits, passed down to the Rothschilds, passed down to the Grand Druid Council, passed down then to the puppets such as Donald J. Lunatic and RFK Jr. and all of the rest of the Democrats and the Republicans. That's how it goes. People tend to forget that Klaus Schwab is behind this. Klaus Schwab is a part of the Grand Druid Council. This is why I didn't mention, hey, the Grand Druid Council passes it down to Klaus Schwab. No, Klaus Schwab is a part of the Grand Druid Council. He's a part of the Council on Foreign Relations. He's a part of the Trilateral Council. He's a part of all that. He's not a member of the Grand Druid Council, but he's connected to that. They're on the same level. And so all of that is how these things are coming into being. The big, beautiful bill. They had to get permission from Enki and Marduk in order to bring that bill forth. And then once Enki and Marduk approved the approval went down the line, all the way down to Donald J. Lunatic, who presents it forth to the public. That's how this goes. So people say, well, what can we do to stop this? How can we stop this big, beautiful bill from, affecting us? Well, and as much as I hate to say this, but I and the team, I want to be completely frank with you. After a while, you're going to have to come to the decision to leave the matrix. That's what it's going to come down to after a while. And not right now. Certain subscriber who I know is listening. Not right now, okay? But eventually, that's what's going to come down to. Eventually, it's going to get to a point where living down here is so financially unbearable that you have no other choice but to leave the matrix, and you're going to have to face that response. That decision is either, after a while, it's going to get to a point where either you use that as a choice, or you stay down here and you just grin and bear with the things that are getting worse. That's what's going to have to be the decision after a while. Some people have already decided to check out because they're like, well, I don't even want to wait until it gets that bad. I'm done. But, that's them. But we're telling you, after a while, that's going to be the decision, because it's not going to stop at the big, beautiful bill. After a while, it's going to be, whereas you are not going to be able to say anything bad about Donald J. Lunatic or any of his government lunatic political friends at all online to your family members or anything like that. Then after a while, it's going to be, you cannot buy or sell or do anything financially unless you have the wearable. So what are you going to do then? Because again, going out into the woods and living off grid is going to do nothing, because they are going to find you. Do you not think they haven't thought about, hey, people may decide to just say, screw this, we're going to go off the grid. They have already come up with the decision, the knowledge that, yeah, that's what people want to use as an alternative, and we have a solution for that too. We're going to go out there and get them, and we're going to make them make a decision. Either they comply or they die. So there's not going to be anywhere on this prison planet where you can run to. Oh, we'll run in the mountains. Well, I'm telling you, you run in the mountains, and if you've ever seen the horror film Wrong Turn, those people, those inbred people that are in that film, that's not just a film, that is reality. You have those actual people living there. They call them feral people. And the way they are in that film, that is exactly how they are in real life. They are in the mountains. So you go in the mountains and you are going to be destroyed physically, literally. So you're not going to be able to hide there. On top of the fact that some of the extraterrestrial beings, the Greys, the Draconians, they are in the mountains. So you're not going to be able to hide this. Where you're going to go. That will be the time to leave the Matrix, simply stated. Because you're not going to be able to go on any further if you're not going to comply. So, what are we facing with this big, beautiful bill? Well, if you are on Medicaid or Medicare, what you are facing is the fact that you're not going to have Medicaid or Medicare. You're going to have to undergo strict restrictions in order to get Medicaid or Medicare. You have to be working. Now, that would be fine if you didn't have senior citizens who can't work, people who have cancer who can't work, leukemia who can't work, Parkinson's who can't work, dementia, Alzheimer's who can't work, people who don't have any legs who can't work. Well, so what? According to this big beautiful bill, you'll just get cut off. This bill is going to affect hospitals and nursing homes. They say it's not, but it is. Hospitals and nursing homes, a lot of them are going to close, because people in nursing homes, they cannot work. They're in a nursing home. You have some people in nursing homes, some white elderly people in nursing homes saying, get your fucking hands on that now. It needs to be. They were back, and they were back in the days of the civil rights, and their minds are so gone that this is what they have reverted back to. So how are they only going to get on a job for Medicaid or Medicare? So they're not going to be able to work for Medicaid or Medicare, so they're going to get cut off. Where are they going to go? And despite how they still are, they still deserve to have to be, treated with care in their last final days. But they're not going to get that if they get cut off of Medicaid and Medicare. So they get cut off Medicaid and Medicare. They're going to get kicked out of the nursing home. Where are they going to go? They're going to die, and that's terrible. I don't care who it is. I don't care what they did in their younger years. That's terrible for someone to have to go through that. That's what's going to happen. People who are in Section 8 and TANF and SNAP, WIC, a lot of them are going to get cut off. A majority of them are going to get cut off for those services, and they need those services. You're going to have the free lunches for kids in schools. That's gone. The reproductive services, if you are raped and you get pregnant as a result of that rape, well, you're going to have to keep the baby because reproductive services are no more. See, it's going to affect a lot of people. A lot of people. And it's going to, it's going to be bearable for right now. Even though these things are being taken away from people, but it's still going to be bearable. But after a while, they're going to keep putting pressure and keep putting pressure. And I don't mean a long while, I mean a short while. They're going to, after this bill is fully into existence, they're going to do something else that makes it a little bit more unbearable, until gets to the point where you're not going to be able to function within the hour unless you comply with what they are presenting forth to you rather. That's what it's going to be after a while. And that will be the time when hey, it's time to get the hell out of here. Because what else are you going to do? Because the minute that you comply, I'm telling you, you're thinking, hey, if I just comply, no one will know. Oh, yeah, no one, like far as we'll be gone. But no, we may not know. You may not think we won't know. Or you may think my family and friends, they won't know. But NK and Marduk will know. And the minute that you comply, which includes you being branded, there is no reversing that. You are permanently Marduks, permanently NKs. That's it. It's over. It's a done deal. You are permanently screwed. This is why we say when it gets to that point, it's better to check out than to comply, because we're telling you, you're thinking, well, I don't want to leave here. Well, number one, why do you not want to leave here? You're not supposed to be down here in the first damn place. And you're telling me you want to stay here where you have to continue to be paying bills and struggling to pay rent and mortgage and all of that and working every single day on long back-breaking jobs. You want to be tracked and monitored by kaleidoscope eyes RFK Jr. You want to be, your social credit score is too low. I'm sorry, you can't get any food. You want to go through that type of life down here? No, no, hell no. No, I'm telling you, when that time comes, we have all made a pact here at the resistance team. We're out. And we are going to be up there in our realm, relaxing, chilling out, relaxing, maxing, shooting some b-ball upside the school and all of that, okay? So we're telling you that will be the time when you know that it will be time to go. And that's where we are headed. You have people who say they're going to protest and they're going to call their representative. That's not going to do any good because your representatives are in on it. Remember, the late, great Max Azzarello said they are all in on it, and they are. They're all in on it. So calling your representative a what? Because they're not going to stop this. Because they are benefiting from this. And so protesting is not going to help, because at this point, you can protest, but unless you really have a world from one end of the world to the other end of the world protest where it is totally putting an end to the elite, protesting is not going to help. No, the best thing for you to do is to get yourself spiritually ready. So when it comes to the time where you can no longer function here, hey, you're ready to go. And you know that you're leaving with you soon, after turning away from the white light, after in the afterlife, you soon being free. That's the best thing to do. Seriously. Because if not, and you remain down here, if you survive the catastrophe that will be coming between now and 2030, which means you would still be here after that catastrophe. I'm telling you, it's going to be a terrible life. You think it's hard now, it's going to be terrible then. Because after that catastrophe is done and over with, whoever is left still standing, who's not uh, an elite person, you are going to be more enslaved than any person has ever been enslaved on earth ever. And you're going to wish at that point, I wish I was dead, but you won't be able to die because they are going to make you immortal through AI. Who wants to live that way? So, this is what we wanted to say, people. This is what's happening, and this is what's going to happen now that this bill has been passed. We have told you time and time again that we don't have long left. You may look outside, you see the sun shining, you hear the birds chirping, and you're thinking, oh, nothing is going to get any worse than this. It's going to get worse. We have 4 years under Donald J. Lunatic, 4 years. Always going to get a hell of a lot worse. And as we get closer to the end, and we are almost close to the end, as we get closer to the end, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. We want to get more intense, more intense, and more intense. And so you have to recognize this, now is a time where you have to start making hard decisions. When it gets to the point where I can no longer go on, am I going to stay or am I going to go? So this is what we wanted to bring to you. We're bringing you the facts, the truth, and the knowledge, which you all know. You all know all equals power, power that each and every one of you all have if you choose and if you decide to use it. And we hope that you will.